Welcome. Let's set up a W anchor high point on a tower. This setup lets you keep most of the trainee group at ground level, where we can work on the basics of building and controlling a rope system. An option is to have a second instructor teaching skills to a rescuer on a line at the side of the tower at the same time. A rescuer tending a live loaded basket using the Aztec kit is a great choice here. The W anchor is placed near the top of the training tower using 4 anchor points. This gives us 2 anchor loops hung over the side of the tower. We attach change of direction pulleys on these loops for a pair of load lines down the side of the tower. Setting up the W anchor, you'll need 4 18-inch prussiks red, 3 green 25-inch prussiks, 4 tube rope protectors, 4 carabiners, and 1 rope at least 50 feet. You will build at 4 anchor points, clock measured roughly at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and 2 o'clock. Start by creating the first anchor point at 2 o'clock using a figure-8 follow-through using about 6 to 8 feet of rope of the end of the anchor rope. Be sure to use the tube protector and set the knot against the anchor. Create a prussic hitch using a red 18-inch prussic about 18 inches from the figure-8 knot. Use the carabiner to link the hitch into the loop of the figure-8. Pull some slack to allow for adjustability later, and then set the prussic hitch. This completes the 2 o'clock anchor. Now draw the rope long enough to drop a bight over the edge, far enough down the wall to pass any obstructions on the side of the tower. Now draw a bight towards the anchor point at 11 o'clock. Tie a figure-8 on the bight. Pass a green prussic through a rope protector and capture the 11 o'clock anchor. Link in the figure-8 to the anchor. Again, tie a prussic hitch with a red 18 and link to the carabiner. Pull up slack to allow for adjustability later, then set the prussic hitch. This completes the 11 o'clock anchor. Now we follow the 11 and 2 lines back to the bight over the edge. Pick up the bight and run it through a tube rope protector. This connection point will carry a large load, so if we used a single figure-8, the knot would be hard to untie afterwards. Instead, here we tie a double figure-8 on a bight. The next step requires 2 carabiners and 2 large pulleys. Link 1 large pulley into the double 8 with a carabiner. Once completed, drop the pulley back over the edge and adjust the protector. Draw more rope towards the anchor point at 1 o'clock and drop a bight. Notice one end of the bight is coming from the 11 and the other end is coming from the rope bag. Once again, use a green prusik for the anchor, a red prusik for the adjustment. Pull up the slack, adjust, set the prusik hitch, and complete the 1 o'clock anchor. Draw more rope back, creating another bight to drop over the edge, and then draw towards the anchor point at 10 o'clock and drop the bight. Complete the same process as the other anchor points. That's your 4th anchor. Now return to the bight over the edge. This bight comes from the 10 and 1 anchors. Pick up the bight and run it through a tube rope protector. Tie a double figure 8 on a bight. Link a large pulley into this knot with a carabiner. In this example, I'm using 2 auto-locking carabiners on each side, since it's harder to check these carabiners once they're over the edge. Standard carabiners are quite acceptable. Just don't forget to check them during the safety checks. When finished, pass the pulley back over the edge and adjust the protector. Now use the 4 red prusik hitches to adjust all the anchor lines to set the W anchor tight and even. Adjust the rope protection at the anchor points. Each line has 2 anchor points. If any one line fails, it's 100% backed up by the redundant line and anchor. Adjust any of the anchor protectors that have gone out of place as you're making this anchor. Feed the lines out and capture the pulleys on each line. Organize the load ends, the rope ends, down the center of the tower, and the effort ends, the rope in the bag, down one side. Adjust the rope protectors. You now have 2 lines from the ground going up to a change of direction at a high point. The next step requires 2 mambas, a kootenai, and 2 carabiners. At the side closest to the main anchor point, we're going to set a double anchor for a change of direction from the lines coming down the side of the tower towards the main anchor. Notice we are using 2 separate links between the kootenai and the change of direction anchor, each with its own carabiner. This gives us redundancy if one link fails. When considering redundancy as a safety principle in a system, consider the effect of any one failure point. Backing up the failure point provides the redundancy. You can see in the background, in the center of the tower at the foot, that the 2 line ends are attached to the load, in this case a kettlebell. Now, moving from the foot of the tower, extend the ropes towards the main anchor, in this case 2 bollards. Two mambas, 2 clutches, 1 squid, and 2 carabiners are used to build a twin tension system. Notice I hitch both mambas directly onto the squid, saving hardware and time. When building the system, ensure that the spines of the carabiners go back to back down the center from the squid to the clutches. Add a capto on one or both lines for a 3-to-1 mechanical advantage. With 2 more pulleys, 2 more carabiners, you can create a 5-to-1 pretty quickly. Ready? Up on blue and red.